Groups are non-synchronized virtual logical folders. Those are folders that do not exist on the physical file system. Groups are shown in the Resource Explorer as blue directories, and the user can create them using the new group wizard. The user can also create groups automatically by drag and dropping files and directories from Windows Explorer onto the Eclipse workbench. When doing that, a dialog is displayed to the user asking whether he wants to A. Copy the files and directories, which used to be the traditional behavior, or B. Create the files and directories hierarchy with groups and links, or C. Create links for each file and directories. So the difference between B and C is that with B, the directories will be created as groups, and with C, the directories will be created as link resource folders. All the link resources can also be created automatically as relative to the project directory or relative to other path variables. Portable link resources. Once a project has link resources that points at arbitrary location of the file system, it is very important that the project stays portable between computers. Link resources in E4 are created using variable relative locations. In Eclipse 3, this path variable list used to be defined at the project level. So the problem was that when projects were moved from workspaces to workspaces, those variables were lost, so the projects themselves were not portable. In E4, the user can now access the link resource path variable list from the project property page. The user can see, while clicking on the link resource section, all the path variables that are defined in the project. Each project comes with predefined path variables, such as Eclipse Home, Project Log, Workspace Log. Other third-party plugins can also extend the list of default path variables available for all projects. The path variables can be defined as value using macros referring to other path variables. This is very convenient when path variables need to be defined relative to the workspace log variable. Also, link resources can be defined still as referring to workspace level path variables, which is maintained for compatibility reasons. In the link resource tab of this preference panel, the user can edit all the link resources available in his projects. The user can see in a very convenient way which link resources has an invalid location, has an absolute path location, or has a correct location. The user can also conveniently convert a set of link resources to an absolute or relative location. Also in E4, the user can right-click on the link resource file folder and edit the link resource location directly from the property page. Resource filters. In E4, a set of resource filters can be defined on any container. So this includes projects, folders, group, and link resource folders. Resource filters allow the project file structure to be very scalable, since link resources and folders can point to very large physical directories, but only a subset of those files and directories under that location can be displayed to the core resource workspace. The user can create include only or exclude all resource filters. Those filters can apply to either files, either folders, or filed in folders. The filters can be inheritable, which in that case, a filter on a container will apply transparently to all his children. And filters can also have different filter types. The current filter types include a string matcher, a regular expression, and or not group, and also third-party plugins can extend the resource filter types through extension points. It is important to understand that resource filters apply to files and folders that are made visible to the resource plugin with the refresh local mechanism. So they do not apply to link resource files and folders that are created explicitly by the user in the project file structure. By using and, or, and not resource filter types, the user can create complex logical expression to be able to include or exclude a very complicated set of files and folders. With groups, portable link resources, and resource filters in E4, the users can now create very rich project file structures, but can still use the same file structures as Eclipse 3 if necessary. With those changes, link resources are much more likely to be used in E4. So all the plugins that fully supported the link resource API in Eclipse 3 will support all the new features of E4. The only thing plugins have to be careful about is the iResource getLocation and getLocationURL method. In Eclipse 3, this method could return null if, for example, the resource was a link resource folder, and was pointing to a location that was not valid in the file system. Now in E4, because all groups are implemented as link resource folders, they will always return null for getLocation and getLocationURL. So if the clients were supporting all the values that was defined by the contract and the Eclipse 3 APIs, they will be fine. Otherwise, it's possible that they have to be updated to handle the getLocation equals null value properly. Some recent changes in E4 include the support for ... qualifiers and path variable values, so that the user can conveniently specify relative variable up in the hierarchy relative to the project location, for example. Other things to consider is some features in Eclipse would have been probably implemented differently if link resources were as full features as they are in Eclipse 4. One of those features is project references, for example, that currently project references can only refer to other projects that are imported in the workspace. But if they would be using link resources instead, they could be referencing other projects relative to the project directory in the file system, so that when they are imported in the Eclipse workspace, the projects that they reference would be imported automatically at the same time. Another example is the JDT Java build paths. In the JDT, the user can add jar files using the Add Jar button for jars that are located in the workspace. The user can also use Add External Jar buttons for jars that are located in the file system but not in the workspace. The user can also add variable for adding jar files as relative to a set of variables, and this variable list is maintained as global setting that the user can edit in the Java build path class path variables. It should be obvious to the audience that those settings to manage jar files and the Java build path could be very easily replaced by the existing link resources support in E4. This concludes this talk about the project file structure and core resource changes in E4. I would like to thank Flickr and Creative Commons for the images used in this presentation, as displayed in this page. And if you have any questions or information, comments, please contact me at this email address, and please visit my blog at the following address. Thank you.